wait on the tubes for a minute. All right, and we're live. I decided to do this one early today so I can get on other projects here later. I just got the news a little bit ago. I put up a post on Facebook, and I'm going to get his name wrong. I can't pronounce the last name, but it's Pa. I followed him on Facebook, by the way. Guy had a whole clothing line, Don't Be a C word. He used to come at hard at trolls and people who made fun of people's physiques and other stuff. And he was a strongman competitor, but crazy jacked. Ended up getting crazy ripped, doing some bodybuilding stuff too. Younger guy still, like early middle age, husband, father. He passed away. I saw the info come up. Eddie Hall confirmed it, who had some interaction with him, knew him a little bit. It's kind of sad to see because I felt like he was a positive influence. I felt like he was a positive influencer, and fitness was actually a good guy, mainly because he didn't come in and try to sell you guys a bunch of silly stuff other than his shirts with his catch slogans, telling people not to be C's. We'll get into that in a minute, David. I want to talk about him for a minute. But I felt like he used to push back really hard against malicious trolls coming at other people while still promoting being crazy, jacked, and strong himself. So he promoted a good message and then, again, wasn't trying to sell you guys a bunch of garbage other than just his clothing line, which is built around his slogans and stuff that he kind of did for entertainment and his blowback. And he struck me as a genuine guy because I saw him make quite a few pieces of him, showing a lot of empathy for people in bad situations. He seemed to me like, and I used to post on his wall a little bit, he seemed to me like he had a good heart. He struck me as a genuinely good human being. Irish guy, Irish strongman competitor. That's what I got from him. I got a certain amount of sincerity and genuineness that I seen that he came across with on the camera. And I think he probably was a really good human being. And so it's kind of sad to see him die. We don't know the cause of death. We don't know what's up with that yet. No idea. So I guess some stuff will come out later, but he did pass away, I guess, earlier today. And it was confirmed. Even Eddie Hall confirmed it. So hit the like button over here, guys. Let's get into this topic. Dave, what do you think? There's a lot. I need to do more research on what's happened this week in Venezuela. Obviously, you know how I feel about the flow of drugs. All right. You know how I feel about the flow of drugs, so I'm all for bombing the hell out of those boats. I'm for going hard at Venezuela and every country that is responsible for drug shipping into the U.S. Right? And I mean go hard in the paint. Zachary, do you feel like the overhead press is better for aesthetics than bench press? Ever since I focused on overhead press, I've noticed a big difference in how I look. Potentially, assuming you have a chest. Here's the problem with de-emphasizing bench completely. Is a tiny chest with big delts, does that look particularly good? And I'm going to go with no. You do need a certain amount of balance there. But what the overhead press does do is, front delt, side delt to some extent, upper chest traps, right? It is helpful for creating that look. But for better than the bench, wouldn't that depend on how balanced you are? Meaning, if you're looking for a straightforward yes or no answer, I'm going to go with no. In the right context, I'll go with yes. But to just flatly say something like that, as if big pecs are not critical for a classic aesthetic physique, then I'm going to say no. So again, context is everything when it comes to training. All right, context is everything. Now, that being said, do I think that you focusing more on that is good? Hey, Tychus, I don't have any info on that. So I don't have any information on that guy at all. So I can't possibly give you an answer. you know? Yep. I can't possibly give you an answer. But I don't want to get into too much conspiracy stuff here. I don't think that it's necessary for us to get into conspiracies, to discuss world events. And there's a lot going on out there that I'm still trying to unpack. I'm still trying to unpack the stuff with Charlie Kirk right now. I know I don't drink whole milk. Mainly because the saturated fat and body fat gain, right? So the thing to remember with the whole milk, if you're trying to stay leaner and you don't literally need the calories, whole milk doesn't make any sense. It may be still okay, neutral for your heart based on the research because of milk. Like it's not good or bad, it's neutral, but it's a good way to get really, really fat. And for someone like me, it would defeat the entire purpose of what I'm doing. I do this for protein overfeeding. Like I'm not even consuming normal fat-free milk. I mean, you see my refrigerator pictures and stuff, right? I have like 6 jugs of Utopia in there. It's 70% protein by calorie. All right. We go hard in the protein. I'm Irish. There was rumors of Coke and old ecstasy use plus dehydration. Yeah, I don't know either, man. You being in the country might have more on the ground, like boots on the ground info on his death. And I hope that's not the case, right? All right. Laying tricep extensions are my favorite tricep exercise. Do you think this is a good one to increase overhead press and bench press strength? Not necessarily. Who has died? Pa, I did a post on it on Facebook. I interact with him on Facebook. Irish Strongman competitor who's funny as hell. All right. But as far as Charlie Kirk's death, I don't want to jump into too much conspiracy stuff. But like I've covered before, no, I'm not Irish. I mean, I literally have a Czech name, so Any thoughts on Anthony Joshua's tragic accident? Yeah, don't go hang out in Nigeria. Like, just stay the hell away from Africa. There's no reason to even go to Africa. I don't care if you got family there. It's crazy. Well, you didn't spell check either correctly. There's a Z in there. You don't know what check is. And I don't think Candace Owens is helping at all. Oh. I mean, you don't see my Slavic name. Do I need to speak with a strong Slavic accent for you here so that you understand my ethnic background? Must be strong old plow like bull. All right. Yeah, I'm not a super big Candace Owens fan, to be honest. I think she's a grifter, personally. Rumor has it. Yeah, I'm not going to jump. Dude, I don't care about a bunch of YouTubers, man. I just don't care. Why would Jake put it like, no, I'm not even going to repeat something like that. Do you know why, Tychus? Because that falls under slander, and Jake could literally sue me, like successfully sue me. So why would I even address a silly ass thing like that on here with no proof, without evidence first? I'm not even going to read out what you wrote. I have a semi-favorable view of you're talking about Tucker Carlson. Yeah, semi-favorable view. Yeah, Candace, she's the biggest agent of all who ever falls for these things. Yeah, dude. I mean, Candace Owens has always struck me as a grifter, like from day one. I'm just calling it like it is. She's in it for the money. I don't think she believes anything she actually says. My opinion. That's it. All right. I mean, is that fair? Dude, she's in it for the money. I don't think she's even really that conservative. No, she saw a niche and made a business move and went for it. So she could rack up a couple $1,000,000. A 10 sets of curls a week considered high volume. I mean, if you're doing other back work that hits the biceps, potentially, you know. I'm trying to dig a little more into what Tucker's doing. I've had a few friends and people say, no, you should look for, like, so I've actually had a friend, like a legit, not an internet friend, like a real life friend, mention him to me the other day. That I should dig a little deeper into what Tucker's saying. He's like, I think if you dig into it, you might like it a little more. So I do need to do that. I need to admit I'm not really up to speed on what Tucker Carlson's doing. But I did have somebody tell me the other day that I should look a little deeper. They're like, I think you'll probably kind of jive with him a little bit. So yeah, I mean, Candace is self-professed that, and people change camps all the time. Sure, absolutely. But I think she is a grifter. I can pause 290 on bench, but only T and G 300. Is that pretty standard? I feel like I should be able to move more. No, I mean, having a 10-pound difference is not unreasonable. I don't even know what a heat pump is, so I'm about to check your start date. What are you talking about? All right. I think she's a grifter for sure. No, I think she is too. She got a unique niche, and I think a lot of it, you know. No, I'm favorable to Charlie Kirk. I like Charlie Kirk. I like Tucker. Often listen to his podcast when working from home. Right. No, I hold a very favorable view of Charlie Kirk. Actually, yeah. It says me, my opinion. I'm entitled to it. Well, I did hold a favorable view. He is no longer with us. Right. Happy New Year. Appreciate it, Jacob. Happy New Year to you too, man. I didn't even check Facebook for a bit. I just now saw Mustafa in here. Mustafa says, why do I lose reps after one set on certain muscle groups can keep my performance in other muscle groups? I don't know. I don't know why that's happening specifically with individual muscle groups. You may not be training them that hard or they're recovering quicker between sets. I mean, they might just be faster recovering between sets. And you may not be pushing them as hard as you think you are. My lips are really dry today, guys. I don't know why my lips are so dry. I don't know enough about Nick Shirley. I keep seeing the name brought up. I know very, very little about him. Are real deal isolation exercises necessary if you're doing a lot of chin ups? Necessary? Like, are you trying to be a pro bodybuilder or do you just want good delts? So define necessary. I think Charlie Kirk had good morals, even if some were extreme. And I think that's the point. And that's the problem today. Too many people are like, oh, if you endorse a person or like their ideas, you have to accept everything. And if they say anything that you disagree with, you can't endorse them. Or why are you endorsing? So it's like, it's insane. People do it in training. They do it with politics. They do it with everything. You mean Kirk's biggest mistake was seeing the light. All right. But yeah, I think Kirk had good morals, and I think he was doing good stuff. And I can say that while still saying, sure, I didn't necessarily agree with every last bit of it, and that's fine. We don't have to. But I am starting to realize, though, that in order to win political battles, Tychus, you're using too much code that I don't know what it means, dude. Sorry. So apparently not, since I don't know the code you're using. I'm not hip to whatever you're throwing out. Coach, should they make that shirt in a white? I really want one. Also, Vans, I have no idea. I haven't bought any shirts from them in years. I have no idea what they currently have up. You could go check it out. Exactly. It's sad all people can't have conversations and choose violence. And that does happen, right? That does happen. But is there a time and a place for it? Sure. Violence should always be a last resort. But there are times when it does have to be done, and that is simple reality. We know this from revolutions, wars, things like that. It's going to happen sooner or later. Sometimes it has to happen, but it should be the last resort, right? Peaceful conversations, peaceful discussions, debates, agreements should always be attempted before we resort to violence. I thought the USPA would hand out shirts to athletes to compete. No. Unable to progress on linear progression for the past 4 weeks, been lifting for 14 months, can't afford a coach. Should I do double progression? Yes. Double progression. All right. And that's always been my concern. I've been saying this for a while, and I guess I'm going to discuss it more. Like, if we don't see some sweeping changes inside the United States, we are heading towards revolution. And I'm saying that as someone who's been watching it here for decades. I can say that we are closer to an internal revolution or civil war in this country than we have been at any point in my lifetime. And I think what we're seeing is the normal average person pushing back, and that's why you're seeing this surge in populism. But I mean, it's like a post I made the other day. Think about this for a minute. What do we fight our revolution over? Anybody know specifically, without looking it up, what was the catalyst that triggered the violent revolution and overthrow of the British crown and the forming of the United States? So what was the foundation? Like, what pushed us over the edge to where we said, that's it, we're done? No, it wasn't over ownership of KFC. I am the wrong person to ever ask me if a lift is good. If you need to ask me if it's good, the answer is no. Because if it was good, you wouldn't need to ask. And also, you're a novice. There's no way you're strong as a novice unless you're a genetic freak. Most people don't get strong in their first 5 years of lifting. So no, it's not good. You haven't paid your dues, right? And I'm not being mean. I'm just simply saying no one should give you a participation trophy for working out for a year. Dude, this is a lifelong game. But he's right, a 3% tax. A 3% tax was the entire cause of the American Revolution. We literally had a revolution over it. That's the foundation of our country. Obviously, I love sweet and sour chicken, but I don't sit around eating food like that. No, dude, I love General Tso's chicken too. Thoughts on Diamond Gym? They seem to be pretty hardcore gym. You've seen all the stuff going on in Minnesota. I always say a 500-pound squat is your baseline. That's kind of your litmus test. Right? That's the point where you know that you're strong. And it is generally accepted by everybody. Taxation without representation was the issue, and it could have been a whatever taxing would have still felt true. And do we have representation for our taxes today? Do you have any party that you're allowed to vote for? This discuss repealing the income tax completely, besides Donald Trump. Tychus, no, that's not enough money. Why would I go work for someone else for 80K a year that when my own business flows good in good years, I make more than that? Like as of right now, I don't want to only make 80,000 a year. That is not even a goal, but let's move on from that. That's a stupid ass question. All right. That's almost ban worthy. Didn't that come up the other day? Someone said, if you were to sell out and work for RP, would you do it for us? Like the minimum for me to not block Dr. Mike, to just not block him outright on the offer, is 300,000 a year. That's the minimum offer for me to enter the discussion and even have the conversation. Like we can negotiate upward from there, but if he's not throwing out 300,000 as his starting offer, we're not talking. And what's he going to have me do? Talk about the squat? I mean, not like I would be compatible. All right, but let's move on. Keep the memeing coming. Of course. Bro, we're going to go hard in the memes. Rest in peace to Pa, Ashley says in the Facebook. Yeah, rest in peace, brother. Oh, yeah, I think that's sad. I want to see more about the cause of death later once it comes out because I like him. Do you ever think you'll have a comeback in popularity? Yeah, it may not be on Facebook. Your memes might be too hard. They're not too hard for Facebook at all. Dank memes melt steel beams. Well, let's move on from that. Looking vascular coach, appreciate it. I am working on my own popularity comeback now, but we're going to branch into other stuff. I'm going to branch into other topics. I'm going to be unfiltered. I'm going to do comedy. I'm going to do memes. I'm going to discuss social events, politics. All right. I pay good money to see Blaha work out at Diamond Gym. How much is good money? Because I'd have to take time off my work, travels, deal with stalkers showing up. How much is good money? Don't tell me $1,000. I'm gonna block you if you say $1,000. You said good money. Like 50 grand? What are we talking about here? All right. Interviews, maybe we'll see. Cora. Like you guys have different ideas of what good money means, I think sometimes. I don't understand. You add hot sauce to your food on occasion. So I've been adding a guacamole sauce to my eggs and stuff. You don't ever see the pictures of my food. It's not like I don't post it up. It's not like we don't post it up, y'all. Come on. Hey, Tychus, don't tell me how to run my business, dude. I will ban the fuck out of you. Are we clear? Last warning. Last warning, homie. I'm going to give you one. One. Is that fair? All right. We also got our one F-bomb in for the day. I mean, you watch me ban people for this over and over and over and over who tell me how to run my business. Do you not? Have you not watched me do it at least 20 times as a regular? So who are you? You want me to sell out to Dr. Mike for $80,000 a year? Like, are you serious, dude? Just sell my soul to the devil for $80,000. And you think this is acceptable? Right. Dude, $80,000. You gotta be kidding me. Is a 100-pound weighted chin-up possible for a natty who weighs 200 pounds? Sure, I guess. Why not? I'm sure there's natties out there who've done it, you know. Yeah. All right. Tychus, you're a weirdo, dude. I almost banned you, by the way, but I decided not to. I'm gonna be real chill. But you may want to chill with this stupidity. I mean, you can go suck Dr. Mike's dick if you want. He came out the other day. So if you want to go suck him off, he'll let you do it. Right? You don't even know if Eric Konechki is still alive. I don't know. I don't know. That's what people are saying, that he came out. Integrity is more important than selling out. I agree. And I mean, if you're going to sell out, it might as well be for real money. Like, guys, talking about selling your soul to the devil for $80,000 a year, you know, just stop. You know, damn. I mean, if you're going to really sell out your integrity and your morals, it better be for some significant money. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, but $80,000 isn't going to do anything either. Mike had a wife. Yeah, doesn't mean he's not gay. That's called a beard in that community. Loki, and I think what you're not understanding is that in a good year, I make significantly more than that without selling out. So do you see the stupidity in it? All right, but let's move on from that. People are digging into my business too much. Hey, coach, I did 3 sets of skull crushers on New Year's Day, and my arms are still sore. My left arm is killing me. Should I eat more protein and rest? New Year's Day, 3 days ago. Oh, man. Is it tendon or is it the muscle that's sore? Because there's a lot going on there to unpack. I mean, resting and getting more protein in is good, but if it's just muscle DOMs, no, man, you could train. But if it's tendons, you're going to have to make some adjustments. You got to be careful about going too heavy on those skull crushers, man, without proper tendon health being addressed. I'm going to refill my milk. I'll be right back, y'all. All right. All right. So, Loki, I'm not going to read your entire question. I'm going to insert random food. Thoughts on random food being the healthiest food? Anybody who thinks that it's possible for there to be a healthiest food needs to go study freshman level nutrition and learn the basics, because the entire idea is moronic from a nutrition perspective. The entire concept of thinking this is even possible is basically displaying no knowledge of nutrition. And I'm saying that politely. Basically means you didn't do several hours of reading on basic nutrition. You need to start at the beginning and start learning basic stuff about nutrition needs in human beings. All right. Like you need like a high school level remedial class. If you think it's even possible for a food type being the healthiest food, this is the idea doesn't work. We could change it to any food we want. It doesn't have to be legumes. Know what I mean? Like the idea is silly. And that's okay. We all have to start somewhere, man. But you know what? You also started your account today, didn't you? So you out of here too. Get out of here. We don't need your nonsense. I need a good, funny, another written post to put up. What y'all think? What should we put up? I'll make an unpopular opinion. All right. And it died out in here when I got my milk. It got quiet. We got a bunch of viewers and nobody is typing all of a sudden. Did we have a problem with the live chat? Not that I care, but yes, Mike did come out of the closet, and good for him for coming clean about it. I mean, we all knew it. It's like it was obvious. But, you know, at least the dude came out about it. He probably feels a lot better. Right? I think people get confused on that. Like I may make jokes, but I don't actually have a problem with gay people. People assume because I jump on the trans thing that I somehow am like homophobic. I don't care, dude. I don't care if somebody's gay. I really don't. I got bigger stuff to worry about. Like it doesn't bother me. But I don't consider them even remotely similar categories. They're not even comparable. How they got lumped in together is just insane. Like I've known a gay dude who straight up hated that idea. He didn't want any of that associated with his movement because he's like, this is going to destroy our movement. And he goes, it's weird and it's gross. And he was a gay dude, like openly gay for 25 years. And that's how he felt about it. And I think he's right. It's going to undermine their movement in the long term. Right? As the blowback from that continues and they've lumped themselves in with it, they're going to get caught in the crossfire. They should have just said nope. But just my opinion. As interesting is that there used to be more people who felt that way in there, but because it's this we have to have one consolidated mindset. Cult-like mentality turns into a problem. Now, it's ultimately going to hurt them. It's going to hurt them in the long term to have embraced that. I'm glad Governor Newsom did, though. That's kind of really hurt him in the national election when he runs against Vance. Christopher says no. What are you saying no to? Like that's going to be all blown up everywhere because he's the current possible front runner against Vance. All the betting odds are already, people who make money on the odds are already calling Vance as winning. The Newsom getting up talking about, well, you definitely hear stuff, dude. It's all out there. You see it all on the internet, Dean Boswell. And it's all good, man. You never heard that term? Really? Never heard that term? I've heard that term from girls talking about it. The first time I heard that term was from an ex-girlfriend of mine used that term talking about some other dude. She was talking about someone you guys all know about. You guys remember what's his name? Leo and Longevity. You guys remember Leo and Longevity? So an ex of mine, when he was trash talking me, looked at it and said, "Oh, dude, he's gay as hell." She's like, "And that wife of his, that's a beard." And I'm like, "What's a beard?" And she goes, "It's when the guy publicly has a woman to mask his homosexuality." Yeah, exactly. No, I mean, Michael lose a few. I don't think it'll hurt his following at all. Dude, he's in the bodybuilding world. Let's be realistic here. Mike is in the bodybuilding world. Do you really think he's going to lose? He's not losing business over it. It's not going to hurt him. He'll lose a few people. It won't be significant. Right. No, Tychus, it wouldn't. But please don't. I'm going to tell you one more time. Don't tell me how to run my business. No, that is not enough money to do what I need to do. And I'm going to move on from that. If I only make 80,000 this year, I'm kind of fucked. So let me put it that way. just calling it like it is. Like that's not acceptable. All right. Completely unacceptable. And there's way better ways to get outreach that don't involve selling out to an organization and a philosophy I hate. And he's right. 80,000 really isn't in the US. That's not as much money as you think it is. What would you do if someone like Michael Hearn slapped you? Do you really need to ask that? What was the response when Michael Hearn threatened to slap me in public before? And I don't mean just the online reply. What was my discussion with the owner of the venue in person, who then had to tell Mike what would happen? And she's like, "I need y'all to chill with this because Jason's not playing. You don't know him." She's like, "You've got this perception from the internet. You do not know him. You haven't met him." She's like, "He will dump an entire magazine in you and he won't. I'm just telling you straight up." Like, and that would be totally justified. He is a self-admitted judo champion. His hand is a deadly weapon. Fair game, homie. So it's very straightforward. Why wouldn't I? Why are people trying to solve stuff with violence? And that's the problem with violence. Once you initiate violence, you better be ready to finish it. Like I always say, violence is a last resort. Violence is a last resort. Should always be a last resort. But if things come to violence, The term you guys want to go look up is called violence of action, which means essentially there's only two solutions to violence. When you are forced into a confrontation, your only viable options are to hit with every last thing that you have, 100% offense, everything you have, every last round you have, you finish them, or you run. Or you run as hard and as fast away as you possibly can. There's no in between. So we're just going to move on from you dipshits. All right. That's fair. Just don't cry about it. Also start cryptocurrency. I just get rid of people. There's no point in me getting wound up. I just get rid of the trolls. Let's move on to other stuff. I don't know why everyone always wants to talk about people putting hands on each other. Like, why are you guys so obsessed with that? I don't understand that. Like, are you guys all like ghetto thug, ghetto trash, gangsters? Throw hands, man, throw hands. Like, are you guys all ghetto trash? I kind of get that impression. Just saying, guys. Yeah. Yeah, I was watching him last night, Peppermint. I was watching one of his videos and I saw it come through this morning. Yeah, I don't get this obsession with everybody with the fist fighting and the throwing hands, man. They act like violence is a small deal. It's really not, especially with grown men. I get it when we're growing up. Dude, grown men shouldn't be getting in fist fights. If you're in a fight, it's life and death, right? And if it's not life and death, why are you in it? Why are you in it? Yeah, if you're exactly as a grown man, if you're fighting somebody, there's no reason for you to fight someone. And I mean a fight. I don't mean a ring match because that's not really fighting. That's not a fight. That's a sport. You know, just like football and rugby is a sport. Those are contact sports. We don't call it a fight, right? There's rules. Not a fight if there are rules. So let's come over to that point. In fact, you're not fighting if you follow the rules in the ring. You're not a fighter. If you go into a boxing ring and you follow the rules your referee gives you, you're not a fighter. You would break the rules to win. Or else you're not a fighter, period. Full stop. Now, back over to that point. That's exactly the point, Peppermint. Violence isn't a game. As a grown, mature man, the only time you are going to ever be violent is if your intent is to end that person. So I don't know what's up with these kids. The kid stuff doesn't apply to the grown-up world anymore. Grown, mature men don't run around getting in fights over their ego, which is also the point when Mike pulled that line. Right? Even Mike said he was going to slap. It's like, are you serious, dude? So and I like his other philosophy stuff, but that was a point where I looked at Mike too, and I'm like, so basically, you're just a little bitch. Really talking about you're going to just put your hands on other men. Just stop. One of the few things I could look at him and actually not respect him over. So you know he's lived a sheltered life. And Ben's correct. Exactly, Ben. Someone who does combat sports, I'm going to be honest, I would be scared to get into a street fight. Is there are too many rules to protect you in sports that do not apply on the streets? Absolutely. Right? Because they're combat sports. They're not actual fighting. And I'm not disrespecting them. Like when I say that, people are like, are you dissing combat sports? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Boxers, MMA fighters, so on. I actually respect them as athletes. I think they're respectable sports. They're real sports. They're hardcore, serious sports. Right? Those guys are real athletes. And we all understand that. And I respect that fact. They're absolutely athletes. But they're used to rules. They're not fighters. That is not a fight. Right. Or sure, when I spar in a ring cage, I don't have to worry about being hit, kick in the back of the head, eye gouging, and so much more. Right. Or someone shivving you. I don't know what country you live in, so maybe you're not in the U.S. where we all have guns. So maybe you're in the U.K. When you have no risk in the ring of some guy pulling out a blade and shanking you with it. You don't have to worry about anybody sticking a knife in your kidney, do you? None at all. It's not going to happen. Out on the street, the guy you're over fighting with, his bro might come up and stick you in the kidney with a knife while you're fighting the other dude. And that's just how it works. You know why? Because he wants to win. Thoughts on Clavicar? I just don't want to talk about this silly, goofy kid. Let's just move on. I already kind of dissed him over the J.D. Vance thing. We can leave it at that. But I think people need to understand that fact. These are sports. And again, when I say that point, people get all indignant about it. And I'm like, it's not fighting. I don't see any of you guys in there with a gun. I don't see any of you with a knife. I haven't seen you killing anybody. It's not a fight. You guys walk away alive 99.99% of your encounters. That's not fighting then, right? It's only on rare occasion. Something goes, that's not fighting. There's rules. You're not in it to win it. So, but they're commendable sports. They have a ref to call the fights versus them getting killed. Absolutely. But there's no rules on the street. There's one rule on the street. Anybody know what that rule is? We can narrow it down to one word. Survive. That's it. That's the only rule. Survive. And I mean, I'm not saying having a background in combat will not give you an edge on the street. Sure, of course it will. But there are many other variables, including nerves not being ready, other people, no rules, other people getting involved, weapons, so on and so forth. Now, if you got 10 years of mixed martial arts experience, are you at an extreme advantage out there? Of course, I agree. Right? You have a definite advantage. Till the other guy doesn't play by the rules. Because there are none, you know? And I think the problem people run into in a place like the U.S., they forget all this arguments about an unarmed attacker go away the second you go up into a stance and it gets seen. You assume some sort of martial arts stance or style or technique out on the street when you start fighting somebody who didn't want to fight you. Their defense attorney is going to have a field day with that when they draw down on you and put 7 or 8 in you. Why? Because you displayed a skill that made you potentially deadly beyond what the average person could do. For all purposes, a good lawyer is going to argue you might as well have been carrying a weapon, assaulting them at that point, the second you went up into that martial arts stance, or you displayed that skill and anybody saw it, a camera saw it, witnesses saw it, the person who popped you saw it, you just escalated their legal right to self-defense. You just took it up a whole tier the second you displayed any of that skill. And a good lawyer is going to use it to get them found innocent by self-defense, depending on where you live. They're going to use it in their favor. So people forget that. They start talking about street fights, They used to street fight all the time. Too many wins and losses. Yeah, dude, it's not good on the body. I think in litigation too. A judo throw and arm will be used against you in a huge way. All right. Right. Yeah, in court. No, Michael Hearn didn't squat no 815 as a teenager. Yeah, Brody, he didn't. He never squatted 815. Mike is a strong guy, but let's not ascribe strength to him that he doesn't have. Mike has never been a truly elite squatter or deadlifter. Is his pressing strength absolutely elite? Of course it is. Hey, Peppermint, I've been hitting them over, checking their page. If while you're in here, if you'd catch some of these guys, and if they made their account today, if you go ahead and clear them out, it would save me the trouble. Mike's never hit those weights. And let me be clear, Mike is strong. Mike's pressing strength is absolutely elite, not just for his age, but in general. Okay. But are we really pretending Mike O'Hearn has ever really been a seriously stronger squatter or deadlifter than me? Really? Not really. Pressing? Dude is an absolute animal. No, Mike's never squatted that. I mean, we can pull up his record. Let me check it. I know it's way lower. I've looked it up a few times. It's come up. Keep in mind, he was a quick lifter as a teenager. So he did hit in 95 with a squat suit and knee wraps. Okay. He did get a 650 squat and a 650 deadlift, but this is all equipped. Right. In that same meet. Actually, he got even heavier, but keep in mind, this is all equipped. I mean, we've seen him squat in the 500s though later in life, I mean, so I'm not saying Mike has not had good squats and deadlifts, but let's not start ascribing numbers he didn't have. 650 in a suit in knee wraps, okay? That's not stronger than what you guys have seen me do. You guys have seen me with some stuff in the mid fives. You see me hit sixes with a cambered bar, okay? Raw with no sleeves, no wraps. Think about how much you get out of knee wraps alone, let alone a squat suit. There's dudes you get 100 pounds out of their knee wraps. I mean, Mike is a mid 400s bencher. All right. Not trying to cap goals, but anything past 4 or 5. So probably, I mean, yeah, honestly, dude, you really are, unless you're just an absolute genetic freak. All right. Bench presses this. No, I mean, bench presses are good lift. It's a real lift. I mean, yeah, I mean, so Mike is a crazy strong presser. Like, you can't take that away from him. I don't think anybody can. Hopefully nobody's trying to. I'm certainly not. I mean, we give credit where credit is due always. I believe in that. You know. Overhead press or behind the neck press is true for body strength, but uses less muscle than the bench. Honestly, it uses less muscle than the bench, so not necessarily. And I respect the overhead press, by the way. What are you talking about? 400 times 5 clean reps, the 1-800-pound slam. Who's doing an 800-pound slam job? What are you talking about? Nobody does that. Sometimes my joints get really sore beat up from grappling. Could it impede progress? Sometimes I switch all my heavy work to rep work, provided I'm still training. Yeah, no, especially because you're a fighter. You do combat sports, Ben. There are times when you literally are going to have to do that. Yeah, dude, ain't nobody bouncing 800. Yeah, it's not happening. So we're creating fictitious scenarios here at this point, guys. And I get what you're trying to say, but I don't think you understand how ridiculous it is. Now, let's give it more realistic. Is 405 for 5 clean reps more impressive than bouncing 500? Because we have seen the 500 bounces. Right? And if we're going to make that statement, I'm going to agree. That's a realistic comparison. And if we go there, I'll be like, yeah, I'm going to 100% agree. Because we do see that there are guys who can do a couple clean reps with 405 who will bounce 500. We've seen them do it with some elbow sleeves and a bounce and the butt coming off the bench. Who they can do 405 for like a double clean. Would you ever do a podcast with another YouTuber like Alex or something? I'm not interested in dealing with the Yaya soy sisterhood over there, to be honest, man. I mean, I'd consider it at some point, but they better be ready for me to talk about hardcore stuff. Yeah, we've seen ADs wonder at max use all the tricks, get all the way up, right? Whereas when I just get in and let's just do raw strength, man. We'll do 8 reps of 500 on a deadlift with just chalk. Just get in and get it done with calibrated steel plates. So it's harder with those plates. Yeah, just get in and train, guys. I'll be doing repping out 405 with no sleeves, just raw, guys. Just get in and lift. We don't need any of this trickery, man. Because it's kind of hard to use leverages once you start repping stuff like that on top of it. It's real hard. But my question is, why would I want to do fitness podcasts? Is that really where the outreach is? I mean, but I can tackle a lot of stuff. I'm going to be tackling more and more stuff. I'm going to do more controversial takes. We're going to start seeing me do more of them, just little things. But I want to discuss real issues. You know, that's the problem. Like, I don't care about the fitness community. I don't really see myself as part of it. But unpopular opinions, absolutely. There we go, man. It is Saturday, and my inbox is getting blown up. I got like one client who sends me all his videos for the week on Saturday. It's just machine gun, and then he sends me a spreadsheet. Yeah, that dad bought Saturday. I felt a little squishier this morning on the stuff, which is interesting because I looked tighter yesterday. So I'll say I may do some abs tomorrow and see how they look. Also, the shorts might be a hair tighter because I took them out of this. These shorts got washed and dried last night. What's the top 5 issues you notice in today's age? I don't even know where to start. Definitely the drug abuse issue. Drug abuse out of control. Attack on masculinity, traditional gender roles. I think those are major social problems. Destruction of the nuclear family, right? Those are definitely up there. Overhead press is better for your shoulders than what? Yeah, but the bench press is still a better test of strength and builds more muscle and works more muscles. I'm very pro overhead press, KGB. Don't get me wrong. I think the overhead press is a legit muscle builder and a legitimate test of strength. But really, it's a cope for people who say that it's a cope for people who can't bench. I used to, be guilty of that and admitted my wrongs and have asked Jesus to forgive my sins with my overhead press cope. I was like, Jesus, I have sinned. I need you to wash this away. Coach, you step back and reassess over the press. Better for overall athleticism, not necessarily. I mean, if you're talking an upper body lift and you're talking athleticism, no, not really, not necessarily. Maybe a clean and push press, but not just a normal press. But I'm going to say a weighted dip is going to be better for athleticism because, again, you're not loading enough on your lower body to really matter. A 300 press is legit, though, like legit. Yeah, absolutely. And so is a 500 bench. They're fairly equal. Those are fairly equal strength levels being displayed. All right. If he has the range of motion to do it, I would say the average 500 bencher can mog a 300 press if he needed to. Assuming he has the shoulder mobility and range of motion to pull it off. And I've seen too many cases of it. Because everyone tries to pretend that's not true, yet we've all seen it. I know someone who is a straight up equipped, heavyweight, crazy strong, equipped bencher, right? I know him and his wife, right? And he was playing around and uploaded a camera. And he's like, I never overhead press, but I wanted to try some Kokolov presses, right? Dude, he had like 95 kg on it and had not done Kokolov presses, had not overhead pressed in years and years. And he went over and grabbed 95 kg and did like 4 reps with it on a Kokolov press, starting off his traps. But he's also like a 400 kilo equipped bencher. I'd rather have big shoulders. Why do you guys say silly stuff like that? So Zachary, if you could pick a bigger left testicle or a big right testicle, which one would you pick? If you can take the time to build one, it's not difficult to build both. See the problem with this logic? I mean, there's a lot of overlap in the movement patterns. More useful for what? Yeah. It's like saying you have bigger marbles than a big carrot. I mean, it's like, yeah, we really having this conversation. Like, I don't see exactly why not just both. I mean, you guys are talking about appearance over here, right? You'd rather have bigger visually. Do you think it's aesthetic to have a tiny pecs and big delts? Do you think that that is considered to be a classic aesthetic physique? Or would it be actually balanced? And if you start saying wide shoulders, it's nothing to do with your delts. That's your lats. Okay. We'll do some pull-ups. So if you have narrow shoulders and a big chest, get good at pull-ups. Fixes the problem. Done. Your delts are not going to get that much wider from training them. They're really not, unless you're directly shooting that lateral head with oil or steroids. You're not going to add as much as you think you are to your width. It's your back that gives you that width. Are y'all unaware of that? Delts look bigger and more capped and wider when you get really lean. It's not because the muscle got that much wider. You're not going to add a lot of width there. Your mom is overrated. Yeah, I went there, man. I said, yo, mama. So people getting upset when I make the thing about the lat pull downs. They're too weak to do it. Like, dude, I'm not going to hand out participation trophies in lifting. Did the focus on the chest percentage come mostly from Joe Weider? Man, I used to say that because I heard Jamie Lewis say that, but I don't know that there's truth to that. That's where I originally got that from. I'm not sure that it was entirely Joe Weider. Plenty of other guys before Joe Weider were working their chest and had big chests just fine. And I'm not going to get started on my thoughts with Jamie with all that. How did you even get into powerlifting? Because I liked it. So I liked it, and I went and did a powerlifting meet. How's that? Yeah, let's leave that one. So are you asking how you can get into powerlifting? Pretty straightforward, man. Work on your squat, bench, and deadlift. Go sign up for a powerlifting meet, learn the rules, and compete, man. There's no requirement to entry, brother. Nothing to do it but to do it, Ain't no thing but a chicken wing. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, powerlifting, and it's fun. Powerlifting's fun. And people who say things about it have never done meets. They don't understand the social aspects to the sport. So I was going to wind this down. We went a whole live stream before someone asked me the daily question. So I have this speech rehearsed. Are you ready? Because I get asked every day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. All right, we ready? Yes, I will eventually compete again. However, I will be keeping all plans private. So I will not tell you when I'm doing the meet or give any indication that I am peaking for a meet. I will simply show up and start posting pictures afterwards. Let me be clear. I will not give you any warning or heads up that I'm about to do a meet or where ever. So we got it all prepped. And so you may not be aware, I say that every day in a live stream. 365 days a year. So Peppermint being a mod laughed, yep, he knew it was coming. You asked it, so there we go. Ryan says, Jason, I'm 5'7" and weigh 315. I started benching at 155 times 3 in 9 months. I was able to hit 340 for a single. Damn, that's solid. Yeah, I wasn't aware at all. It's all good, man. I mean, the last 3 meets I did, I broke multiple Texas state records at all 3 meets in 2 different weight classes for masters. I made an account today, but will you please not ban me? Peppermint, you want to go ahead and tap in? You can still build. Are you talking about not benching at all, Zachary? Why are you scared to bench press? Why are you scared of a chest? Like, what is the phobia? And I'm not disagreeing, but why are we scared of the bench press? Is there a reason? Why are you scared of chest? Why are you scared of dips? You don't want them tickle bitties, right? So that when you stand up and turn to the side, man, people will be like, what? Right? Got to have them D cups. Yeah, I'm not addressing that again, Karma. No, I'm not. I am not addressing that again. Done. I will answer it for a $50 super chat. What's your chest going to do in a fight? You need some pretty good armor. Also will improve your punching power. But why do we care? So what muscles do you think are going to help me in a fight? Besides grip strength. Okay, so you ready? So in a fight, right, which muscles are going to help me? Break it down. So which muscles are the most important here? I'm in a low ready. I'm ready to draw and do a mag dump in my attacker. So I want you to tell me what muscles are going to help me here with this. All right, we ready? What muscles are going to help me? Like your interior delts. And I think that grip is a big deal. I think grip in forearms, especially if I'm in entanglement. If I've got it in and someone's trying to grapple it away from me while I'm popping them. Okay. So hold on. Let me grab a knife. Okay, so what muscles are going to help me? So I'm bingo ammo, right? Oh no, we're out of ammo. And we got to go back to a blade. So what muscles are going to help me? Because you always carry a knife, right? You don't ever leave your house without a knife. You guys in the gun control countries, you don't leave your house without a blade, right? So what's going to help you? Yeah, that was just a toy. Yeah, you don't leave the house without a knife, right? I don't. Minimum one extra magazine and a knife. That's standard. So there you go, man. So over here talking about your muscles in the fight. I mean, It don't matter, but I think grip strength is pretty important. I think this is your most important muscle too in a fight. One between your ears. Yeah. Crazy people in the world, right? Better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. Got to be careful of the elite grip strength handling weapons. Now, dude, Glocks and stuff are pretty indestructible on that. They've run over them with trucks and stuff, and they're fine. Yeah. We're in a different world, man. Yeah, no, dude, we're in the modern era. So for people not outside of who are not part of the American pew pew culture, they may not be grasping that. For example, a weapon that is capable of discharging if it's dropped on the ground. Do you understand how big of a deal that is? So people say, well, accidents happen. No, they really don't. Your stupid finger on the trigger is what happens. Improper training, improper user error. Modern firearms don't go off because you throw them on the ground. Unless you're this one company called SIG and they have one model that has been documented to drop fire and they catch hell for it for the past 5 years straight. Nothing but memes and memes and memes about don't accidentally drop a SIG. Like they've been clowned into the ground because there was a documented case. Right? There's a documented case of a SIG P320 going off. And you talk about absolute in today's world, there being a documented case of a drop fire from one of your police type weapons. Oh my God. That gets issued to militaries too. That's basically business suicide. Right? That's business suicide. All right, Jason, I'm heading off. It was good to see you doing good. Take care of yourself, brother. Learned a lot. Hey, man, take care, bro. Zachary said, I do bench press and weighted push-ups for chest. I just focus on. Okay, well, that's cool. It just made it sound like the other way, you know. But the same thing with durability. Like, dude, if there's reliability or durability issues, dude, it's discussed ad nauseum. Think about how we do this stuff in the lifting world, right? You realize the pew pew world is even more clicky and snobby. Like you have no idea. So you people who aren't part of that culture, you have no idea of the level of elitery and gun snobbery in the gun community. Like you're talking, dude, we're at next level. And the arguments over things like an external extractor. And you also there's a term for people who have budget firearms. They're called poors. Wow, you have a $400 gun. Like, dude, you're gonna get made fun of in certain circles. And other people, what's what I can like? Well, maybe you should have saved up and bought a better gun. If you can't afford a better gun than that, how do you even have money to train? How do you have money to practice? How are you getting skilled up? Like, dude, it's bad. Like you get mocked into the ground for stuff. Have I ever? What makes you think I would do something like that? I would never, ever make fun of somebody for their Taurus. Damn, bro, that's what you bought your wife to carry? You bought your wife a $385 Taurus. This is what you think is appropriate for your wife to defend herself from a rapist? You're a gun guy. What do you carry? Oh, okay. So you got a $600 M&P with Trigicons on it, and you bought your wife a cheap ass Taurus, and it's pretty and it's in till. So you want her to get raped? That's what you're telling me. That's what you think is appropriate for her to defend her life with. Damn, bro. Well, no, man. It's like, no. You just didn't want to spend the extra couple $100 for a good gun because you just wanted her to feel comfortable. There's a false security. And then I'm checking it out. Better to own a high point. Yeah, I'm going to disagree with that. Did you really just better to own a high point than nothing? Send your friend over here. I'm going to make fun of him. Did he beatbox while he said that? In my hood, I got a high point. It's like, was he beatboxing while he did it? So is he gangster or is he white trash? Which one? So which is it? Is he from the trailer? Is he from the trailer park or is he from the hood? I need to know because it's one of the two if he said that. So which one is it? I need to know. So he's either from the hood or he's from the trailer park. I trust my life to it, and I'm not, man. I'm not trusting my life to a Taurus. I don't think so. No, hell no. No, bro. Mm-mm. If you die in a gunfight for lack of skill. I don't know, man. FTEs, extraction issues, bad triggers, fractions of a second matter. And while I do understand what you're saying, and I do agree, lack of fundamentals is a big deal. Any weapon that I personally can't go to the range and take it dirty and put 1,000 rounds through with no malfunctions, I am not going to carry out on the street. I'm just going to call it like it is. I can't put 1,000 rounds through it without any malfunctions, with it dirty. I am absolutely not trusting it out on the street. Sorry, not doing it. Now, some of them you can't run dry, but you can run them dirty. And I can tell you which two things I have taken to the range and done this successfully has been the Glock 19 Gen 4, and I've also done it with an M&P 9 2.0. I've taken both of those to a range and put 1,000 rounds through them without any failure to feed, failures to extract, no issues with the magazines. Like that's my baseline. Okay. You're talking about trusting your life to it out on the street? Mm-mm. Now, I'm not saying I've never picked up a Taurus here and there and then flipped it because I got a good deal on them. But, I'm just saying, just giving my opinion. My snobbery's coming out. And I know people way, way worse than me. You want to really hear stuff? I've known a guy who's like, wow, man, you trust your life out on the street on something without optics on it? You don't have a red dot? You're losing a quarter second of target acquisition. Like, I don't think you're taking your self-defense serious. He's got a point. I may go over to start doing that because the technology is there. But I also like 1911, so I'm not gonna lie. This is where my cognitive dissonance comes in. I will still trust a good 1911. And that's the nostalgia cool factor in me. I like 1911s. I like them a lot. But I'm generally going to carry a reliable plastic Fantastic. Combat Tupperware. Zachary says, I think it would be interesting if bench press was replaced with weighted chin-ups or overhead press. I don't think it would be at all. I think you'd see a lot more injuries. Maxing on weighted chins causes a lot of bicep tears. Just saying. No, I don't think the bench, there's nothing wrong with the lifts that are there. They're fine. They work great. And I love weighted chin-ups. I love overhead press. I think they're great lifts. We don't need to reinvent the sport. Heck, even with bench press, I know, right? But hey, old PA, I do get what you're saying. This is just me personally. My minimum level of quality is Glock 19, M&P 2.0. I will trust a good 1911, but I will admit you better be very picky with your magazines. You're going to need to test all your specific magazines unless you're running like Chet McCormick's or something. But even then, man, I'd make sure they cycle hollow points reliably through your specific 1911. I've carried a Beretta before. They're just heavier, like a Model 92, which I like. I'm fairly fond of. I don't like the weight versus what it brings to the table. But as a range gun, Beretta all day long. In terms of those models, I know they've made other stuff like all the Storm stuff. You know. But we also have to factor in, cool factor, because we've got practical and then we have cool factor. Like practical that makes sense to carry, a polymer frame, modern reliable striker fire with a red dot in 9mm. Makes perfect sense out on the street. That's practical. You're never going to go wrong with those options. All right. I trust my life to a Ruger P95 to live on the edge. The P95? Oh, let me check that model. I mean, I know quite a bit about Rugers. The P90. I need to double check what model that is. Let me look at it. Ooh. Yeah, I know. I'm gonna pass. And I think Ruger's a good company. The Ruger Americans have been a good line. I think they make some decent bolt guns too. What point can we talk about bicep tears on chin-ups? Suppose that one rep with 100 pounds with your chin-up strength standard is not an issue. Yeah, we start getting into those others, right? Do you start talking about 200-pound weighted chin? We're getting risky. No, I meant the synthol is stupid. I think it's ridiculous. But I'm not a competitive bodybuilding fan really either. But let's talk cool factor versus practical OPA. You want me to name a couple of pieces I am super fond of? Obviously, 1911s. You know what else I really, really like? And we could argue antiquated. I really like 357 Magnum revolvers, and I don't care whether it's Smith and Wesson, Colt, Ruger. They're all good. Um, my first handgun I legally purchased was a Smith and Wesson 686. I used to hand load for it. So, and then after that, I went over to H&K for a while. An old SN in Sherfield. No, I'm not doing. Karen, there you go. What day did you make this account? Oh, he's a new guy. He's a troll. And just ban him off his page directly. I've been doing weighted chin-up singles for a while and have had no issues. I wonder if it's safer for natties. Potentially, but if you get strong enough, it's a problem. You got 357 Python and 6-inch. Cool. So yeah, it's Colts. I like the Colts too. I like the Smith and Wessons a little bit more, but I do like those Colt Pythons. I like the Anacondas too in the 44. The Black and Pearl Grit 1911. Nice. What brand's your 1911? Is that a Colt? Since you didn't name it, it's probably a Colt. Also a Trooper, another Snub 357. Yeah. Now, in terms of cool factor, they're great. I don't want to carry a revolver. I get the argument out for bear country or something, but I might. I mean, I'd be okay. I'd be comfortable with a 357. Like even in bear country, yeah, a 6-inch Colt Python with a 6-inch barrel with hot hand loads, I'd be comfortable with that. Still going to be shot placement, but I don't hang out in bear country. What do you think of the KS1? KS1. Why does that sound familiar? Let me look it up real quick. I got to jog my memory. KS1. My Knight's Armament. Okay. Based off the SR16. Knight's Armament's a good company. I mean, it's just an AR, really. It's just a high-end AR. So I don't know what we're looking for. I mean, you're not going to go wrong with any company on high-end ARs. I think Colts are the standard, but I mean, I've owned a couple of M&Ps. Dude, I've owned a couple of Smith & Wesson M&Ps that were stone cold reliable. They're just not crazy accurate. You know, they weren't one MOA rifles. They were 3 MOA. But then again, so is a Colt built spec. I mean, Knight's Armament makes good rifles, though. You know, on the little bit higher end rifles, I like Daniel Defense a little more. I'm very partial to Daniel Defense because I like their barrels. I've built off of a 18-inch Daniel Defense barrel before, and it was sub MOA all day with match ammo. I'm pretty sore from shoveling lots of snow yesterday. Is there any benefit to eating a little extra protein for a couple of days for extra recovery? Possibly, yeah. All right, guys, we've been in here an hour and a half. I got work I got to get back to. Let me wind down. I'll give you guys a bicep shot first, and we'll end the Facebook. Oh, Mount Bicephalus. And the Facebook. All right, I'll catch you guys tomorrow. We're out.